Hello and welcome to this fresh episode of the Autocar Professional Dialogue. Our guest today is a veteran in the automotive industry and he's got a very interesting profile. He's a Cuban immigrant to the US and he has spent over 3 decades in a Japanese OE, and the Japanese OE is Nissan, and he happens to be the first non-Japanese head of a design team at any of the major Japanese OEMs. I'm talking about Mr. Alfonso Albaisa. He's the global design head, as I've mentioned, at Nissan. Mr. Albaisa, nice talking to you, and welcome to Autocar Professional Dialogue.
Thank you very much. I'm humbled by your introduction.
Interesting. How often do you come to India?
I've been a few times to India. I was here about 10 years ago or more, when we started looking at a site for our technical center.
Yeah.
I was involved in that, and I moved around Chennai and Bangalore and Mumbai, and then now I have come back.
It's clear that things have not progressed as per plan, and now you're preparing for kind of a new, fresh efforts. So let's talk about the Kicks. That a lot hangs on that product, and what are your expectations in this new chapter, if one may call it, which is set to begin for Nissan in India?
Well, very excited about that. The Kicks has been a success now in the world, and so naturally, when the idea of it coming to India, everyone is optimistic, and then some additional opportunities come. So this Kicks is a bit different. It's more Indian than global, in a sense, and it has a little bit different proportion, and it has been tailored and engineered here, and we're very excited about that, because this is, as you mentioned, a new look, a new chance to show Nissan DNA, the democratization of great, exciting designs for everyone. And the Kicks is lively, it's dynamic, it's a small SUV, it's robust, it's very agile the way it moves around the city, and you get inside, a huge screen, and a lovely craftsmanship of the interior. It's a kind of Japanese technology for India, so it represents Nissan. So
I can understand you can't divulge all the details, but can you tell us in terms of what are the changes, what are the unique factors in the Kicks for the Indian market?
Yeah, difficult to go into the details, and very soon you'll see them. But it's a slightly different size than the global Kicks, but the tonality and the design intent is very similar. Interior is a bit more roomy, and its sense of posture is more SUV than crossover, and the technology and the connectivity is very nice. And these are all directly by looking what's happening and looking at the really tough competition in India in this size of vehicle in this category, which is a new category. But we feel that we have a unique space inside of that.
Which is what you were saying, that the responsibility of the Indian team is to be the eyes for Nissan in India, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And can we expect a kind of a sub 4 meter derivative of the Kicks?
The specifics of that even can talk less
Right.
About our future plan. Now, I did mention earlier about the eyes, but it's also the hands, because what I'm going to be asking of them is to study very carefully the launch of the Kicks and the things that are working well, and understanding how we are going with Nissan technology, and study the Leaf that we're going to bring, and how all of these Nissan intelligent mobility pillars are working in India, and bring me ideas of new product.
Right.
That we're going to be asking them to help shape Nissan in India, and we have plans of growing our studio, and also we have a great alliance partner in Renault that will help us grow quicker than other people would need to. So they're going to be my eyes on a daily basis, but also my artists and people to mirror society in India.
So as I understand, so they are not going to only execute orders that come from the global headquarters or the regional headquarters, but also come up with projects and proposals to you.
Yes, and
for
I
your
think
approval.
this is maybe a bit of a reflection of my own movements in the company. My 30 years, as you mentioned,
Right.
I wish it was less, but no, I have to embrace my age. That I have found Nissan to be a company that you bring ideas to the company and they listen and they will innovate with you. And this is what I'm asking of my studio here in India, is that they should, of course, do the necessary work, which is to make sure with engineering we're making excellent cars. And we animate them and keep them alive with all the special versions that in India are so popular. And but also to speculate, to risk, to guess, to jump, and bring us very interesting ideas that we never considered before.
And also, what do you think didn't work out for Nissan in India so far?
I think, well, circumstances, just when certain platforms were coming in and coming out and delaying. I think probably our amount of change didn't resonate well with the speed. In India, what is very obvious is that the sense of fresh and modern and keeping the portfolio alive is super important. And so moving forward, I think as we launch Kicks and as we bring other minor changes and as the company rejuvenates Datsun to make all of the offerings of our company, both Nissan and Datsun, make it represent the goals of the company. We are a company that within the segments need to be the fresh one. This is a fundamental requirement. This is job one for my team in India.
To bring that freshness in every segment.
Every segment we need to be.
And that starts with the Kicks.
Starts
next
with the
year.
Kicks and follows with other things.
And on the Datsun front also, you plan to kind of revive, refresh the
Yes.
brand from a
Datsun
design
will go
perspective.
through a change, and again, organically. It's just in a big company is when the platforms change, and our platform comes to an end of its life, and the company makes a decision to renew and incorporate new wave of regulatory actions. And then it was a perfect chance about a year ago or so to start to reshape Datsun. Datsun's about love. It's about, let me tell you a story about growing up in Miami.
Yeah.
My grandfather left Cuba later than us, and not long, in the mid-60s. And he was a professor in Cuba most of his life. And he came to the United States without a dime, nothing, zero. 60 years old, not the perfect time to start a career in the United States. And he was very fortunate to land a job in the factory sewing shirts for a company that doesn't exist anymore, Van Heusen. And very difficult start for him, struggling very much and adjusting to life in the United States. And he saved up enough money, and he came home one day and he had a shiny Datsun, brand new. His first car was a Datsun, and the look on his face I can remember like today. I want to bring that to everyone.
Was it the first ever car in your entire family?
And that's the first new car in my family was Datsun. The choice of color maybe we can discuss.
What was it, by the way?
A bit dark green, very 70s. And but to bring mobility, to bring that level of quality, the charm, and this feeling of a new car was something that I'll never forget in his face. So my job is simple in the sense that Datsun needs to be oxygen for everyone. It's I want to, not unlike Nissan, in the sense that we represent something fresh, something pure in every segment. Nissan represents high tech, technology and the Nissan Intelligent Mobility has a slightly different tonality. We keep the brands separate, but they both need to occupy this kind of freshness.
Right. And also in terms of the contribution from India, I understand that your team is still young. Could you tell us, are there any examples of contribution from India into any of your global projects and ongoing projects?
The studio is new, so I can't use any tangible right now because my team is so young.
Right.
But what I can tell you about my company being Nissan, there's a slightly famous car, the 350Z, the Revival Z.
Right.
I don't know if you're aware, it's designed by Ajay Panchal, Indian.
Oh.
The global one-ton pickup truck, the Navara, Hiren Patel, designed by him in the California studio. And he is currently a manager in California, managing the trucks that I have in the US and some global projects. So I have great use and have been able to leverage the talents of India even before my studio. So I'm hoping these are heroes for them, and that they will achieve that level. Should be their goal.
Oh.
And
I mean, of course,
I expect this.
There'll be big examples for them to kind of follow.
Yeah.
And also in terms of, you have got some iconic cars, no? I mean, the famous GTR or the Godzillas. Now you have taken up this role after really some accomplished designers. You yourself have played a role at Infiniti. How easy or challenging is it to kind of follow, to take such a story forward like a GTR?
I'm very lucky that I was very close to Shiro Nakamura, my boss, former boss. Very close. Maybe uncomfortably close for him. For me, he was my teacher, and he shared many stories with me about the difficulty of decision making that he had to make. And he talked to me about the current GTO. That he said, Alfonso, if anyone comes to me and says, that's a beautiful car, I have failed. He said it in this manner.
Okay.
And at first, I wasn't sure what this kind of comment.
Because usually we want the car to be beautiful.
And he said that the GTR, if you're going to respect the culture of a car, because some cars are so big that they're more important than the metal that makes it. And the GTR is one of them. And the roots of the GTR, where the GTR comes from, it's not from beauty. It's from Godzilla.
Yeah.
It's from this sense of the company prints and the skyline and how that became a beast.
Right.
And defied logic, how
an exemplary challenger.
How a Porsche 904, 906, I forget the number, can be like worried that what is this little brick coming behind me? This kind of culture that it lives in our GTR. That's why I loved, even at Goodwood, where we were showing this celebration of the men and women. Because this is sheet metal, aluminum, and carbon fiber celebration of a history. It's not the next GTR. But once again, to see it lined up with some cars, €2 million, €2 million, 700 euro, the GTR, which is huge money. But even in that, this feeling like I'm a brick, catch me if you can, or even catch me if you dare. Attitude, which is GTR. It's a great. To be a designer for Nissan is, that you will jump from a GTR to a Z car, to a Cube, to a Micra, to Qashqai. Our spectrum has more colors than a rainbow. Definitely.
And as the industry progresses towards adopts these new megatrends, namely primarily electric mobility and autonomous driving, how big a shift do you expect in automotive design? Not necessarily for Nissan, but generally, because then the canvas is suddenly huge. for a designer?
The potential of the EV platform is it's a revolution, because at the end of the day, it's a flat pack of batteries, like a magic carpet, as we always say. And the electric motors are so small, they're like watermelons. And they're literally that size. And everything else is support of those two things. Even steering is electronic now. Even Infinity, we have a steer by wire, and we have shift by wire. You don't need wheel, you can have a joystick. The potential is infinite. But we're still making cars for human beings. And they have dreams and desires of what's cool, what's hip. And so what's happened is that our canvas is a little bit easier to get there. We have a little bit more freedom, but we're still in the beginning. And yeah, there's still more to come in that.
And lastly, today, before you came for the interview, you were, I believe, you were addressing students and the parents in school.
Yeah.
Do this in all the markets, countries that you go to, or have you done it in India? And could you just throw some, how was the experience, and what is it that you observed in this interaction in India?
What I found in India was stunning. Stunning, with all compliments. It's a bit tear-jerking in the sense of the kindness of the kids. That I have great hope in the future, where 15-year-olds can be so polite, so generous, and so curious.
Right. Okay.
Because when you have a tendency where children are polite or humble or something like that, they're quiet.
Yeah, yes.
The questions were deep. There was a question from a 15-year-old that how the company considers the ideas that are lost as waste. And do I feel pressure as a manager about controlling that or justifying that? And it was a deep question, a real question about, I don't know how he knew this much. We had a great discussion about how the company values failure in the design process, because at the end of the day, I have 800 people in my group. Well, we do one car, more than one car at a time, but most of the ideas of my team don't make it to reality.
Right.
It's not a waste.
Right.
It's an investment.
It's an investment, absolutely.
So we were able to talk about that with young children, and the parents can understand that, yes, to be a designer is a mature activity. It's a business. But the criteria of that business is a little bit different than other ones.
I agree.
So my hope is that there was something good in it, and I found that the level of the students was super high level, super high.
And you don't expect the same from your team also, and at some point maybe a car designed from scratch in India.
I hope so.
On that note, Alfonso Albaisa, nice meeting you, and wish you all the very best.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for watching this episode of the Autocar Professional Dialogue. Do keep tracking all the developments in the Indian and global automotive industry through Autocar Professional, through its magazine, the website www.autocarpro.in, as well as subscribe to this YouTube channel. And also we are there on social media. Till we meet again, thank you very much for watching this episode, and goodbye.